All right, Monday Night Raw, Chicago. We got perhaps the biggest hint slash sign slash whatever phrase you want to use about where WWE is heading when it comes to The Rock and Cody Rhodes. A lot of people have been asking the question, are we going to ever get a match between The Rock and Cody Rhodes? Remember, we were asking that several weeks ago. And I did a video and I said, I just don't know. I know Cody's calling him out, Elimination Chamber and all this, singles match. It seems like it's just kind of a misdirection, right? That's just to get you to the tag team match with The Rock and Roman Reigns teaming up against Cody and Seth Rollins. Well, we got there, and you're thinking, all right, well, that's probably what this was all about. A little bit of a swerve, but it's okay. We're going to get the tag match, and then we know we're getting Cody versus Roman Reigns on night 2 at WrestleMania 40. But what has changed since then? Everything. Because now things have gotten so personal between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And if you're wondering how personal things got, and you happen to miss Monday's edition of Raw, this is how personal things have gotten. When you see the visual here of The Rock outside the arena in Chicago with a bloody Cody Rhodes, and not only do you get this visual of The Rock, coming in, attacking Cody after he was fighting with Jimmy and Solo in the back, but you get Rock taking it yet another step further here. He brings out the belt. It's got Mama Rhodes' name on it. Rock has said he's going to, smear the blood, and here he is. Cody's blood dripping everywhere. The Rock takes his blood, wipes it on the belt. Rock even spit on Cody, it looked like at one point. So, are these two guys that are working together? If they are working together, I think that WWE is going to be in big trouble. Because if that is the final reveal, is that these two are somehow working together, then I'm probably going to hop out of this storyline. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we can all exhale, knowing that's not going to be the case here as we look at this feud moving forward. Because I do think this was the biggest indicator yet of what WWE now has in mind as you not only go into WrestleMania 40, but beyond WrestleMania 40. And I'm going to give you a little teaser here. It's important you hit the subscribe button because tomorrow I am going to do a video where I think I've figured out what the finish is going to be to the WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main event, Cody challenging Roman Reigns. I've been trying to figure it out all along. It seems like the predictable aspect of this is the Night 1 main event, which is The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody and Seth Rollins. I've said in a previous video, you can check out all the videos here on the channel that we've done looking at this storyline over the past several weeks. I said I think The Rock's going to pin Cody Rhodes. I feel like that's the only obvious sort of choice that you have going into this, because what does that do? If Cody wins the title on night 2, it does set up that potential match between The Rock and Cody Rhodes in the future. And that's why I think that one is kind of clear as day. But I think I've figured out now how you get there and how it involves Roman Reigns. And again, I'm going to put a video together on that, hopefully up on the channel either tomorrow, next couple days, and I'll give you guys some thoughts, and I'm curious to know what you think about that. But if we're just looking at where things stand with The Rock and Cody, was it just going to be these guys trading verbal jabs? One guy slaps the other, all this. I mean, look, could you fake that? Sure you could. But you're not faking this. You're not faking what you see on the screen here. With The Rock throwing Cody into the bus, he's throwing trash cans at him. This was the ultimate sort of Attitude Era finish to Raw. And I loved it. Could you poke some holes in some things and say, why in the world is no one helping Cody as he's getting destroyed by The Rock in the parking lot? Sure. But, hey, throw logic out the window. We got The Rock and Cody Rhodes here. It doesn't matter anymore, right? Let's go all in on this thing. But in all seriousness, I think this is one where everything you saw from The Rock here, and as you see commentary continuing to push the final boss, all this other stuff with The Rock, right? It is clearer than ever. And this was maybe hint's not even the right word. This was the most obvious development yet in this storyline on the road to WrestleMania 40 that WWE is 100% planning a match between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And I think what you saw here is that, think about what happened when these two got in the ring earlier in the night, right? You just had these two. It's just them by themselves. There's no one else in the ring. There's no Rollins. There's no Reigns. And trust me, we've done a video on that, asking, how much is The Rock maybe overshadowing Roman Reigns? And how is that going to play into the story, which I will kind of tie in a little bit to the video I'm going to do about my prediction for the finish of the Night 2 main event. But if you're looking at what the fans did when these two guys got in the ring last night, this was, if you go all the way back to like the 90s, right? You had the Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior in the Royal Rumble spot, where WWE loves those, where you put the two, sort of giants in the ring together. Giants in the terms of like just popularity, right? You put Hogan and Warrior in there, the crowd went nuts. What happened? They went with that as the WrestleMania 6 main event because you couldn't deny it. We talked about, even you go back earlier this year, right? We know a Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill type match is going to happen eventually because you tease it, you put these two in the ring together, you see how the fans respond. We saw how they responded in the Rumble when you had the stare down. Now you get these two all alone in the ring together. And the fans just went absolutely nuts, right? You're getting the "this is awesome" chants, you're getting the "holy shit" chants, you're getting, all these dueling chants. Some people are chanting for The Rock, some people are chanting for Cody. WWE eats that up with a spoon. Like, that is exactly what they want, because now I think we are definitely on the road to The Rock versus Cody Rhodes, and I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Could they hold it off till next year's WrestleMania? Potentially, because this thing has gotten huge. And could it potentially happen? I don't know, because we know there are two matches out there now that are going to take place for sure, barring an injury from The Rock, or anyone else, I suppose, in that matter. We're going to get The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. We're going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And I will tie in the Roman Reigns part of it when I do the video on the prediction for the Night 2 main event finish. But I think that what we saw here is that, the Final Boss tagline, as I've mentioned many times, WWE is having a lot of fun with that. They are pushing that for The Rock all in on Final Boss now. And I think that's where, again, to me, that means The Rock has become the final boss for not only just, Roman Reigns, but he's become maybe the final boss for Cody Rhodes, and that's also pushing the ego of The Rock here. Look at this guy right here. You can't tell me that this guy right here is not loving every single second of what he's doing right now. And even if this was not the plan from the start, I don't know how you could have asked for a better pivot to get this version of The Rock. I think this is one of the best versions of The Rock we've ever seen in WWE. Doesn't mean you're going to get it from a match standpoint. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and wrestle a 60-minute classic, but character development, all this other stuff, the way the character is being portrayed, this is top-level stuff. Like, this is just tremendous, tremendous work from The Rock here. And again, look into this man's eyes. You're telling me this is a guy who's going to become a cheered babyface at WrestleMania? I don't think so. He may, but it may be inadvertently. And again, that's the tease I have for the WrestleMania Night 2 video I'm going to do on what I think could happen in the main event. But this is what you've now gotten, is WWE has pushed the final boss, the final boss, the final boss. And like I said, if anyone thought there was any doubt, and I've still seen some people, even after last night's Raw, on social media and stuff, that are saying, I hope we get The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I hope we get that match. You are getting that match without a doubt now. This was the biggest, like I said, hint yet you could find out there. They took it to a level where there's no return now. If you don't do a match, what is all of this for? It's not just for the build to a match that does not involve these two in a one-on-one singles match at WrestleMania. They're not fighting each other at WrestleMania, which I know is another discussion we can have as to whether that's smart, because this has now 100%, without a doubt, overshadowed Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. But I think because you know that this is the direction you're going, and knowing that you're not doing The Rock versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but yet The Rock is kind of the biggest player in this entire thing, I mean, you kind of have to ride with it now, because this is the direction they've set to go in. And I mean, I can't fault them for just deciding, hey, we've got maybe two big matches that we are going to push that probably will play out over the next year with The Rock and Roman Reigns and The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And like I said, my prediction as of right now would probably be The Rock versus Cody at SummerSlam, The Rock versus Roman Reigns next year at WrestleMania. So, hey, I mean, lean into it. Go all in. And they're going all in now on this. Again, when you saw The Rock and all the mannerisms, everything he did to Cody on this edition of Raw, they couldn't spell out any better that they are doing this match, and they are letting you know in every way possible that you're getting a singles match between these two, which could come now. Does that have something to do with maybe what The Rock whispered, or does that have something to do with what The Rock has ultimately in mind? If Cody defeats Roman Reigns and becomes champion, think about the stakes that now raise from there, where you've got Cody with the title, and I've said in previous videos, you've got The Rock coming after that title with all the power and he's played that up on the TKO board, all this other stuff. The final boss is coming for the championship that Cody just won. He thought his story was finished, and maybe it is, but now the next chapter is how do you defeat the final boss after maybe the final boss just pinned him on night one at WrestleMania, and he's earned that opportunity. I think that is clearly now the direction we're going in. And like I said, if anyone had any doubts about whether these two were working together, if this was all a big ruse to get Roman Reigns, we have gotten way too far away from that now to where that's not even an option. I think that now you're going to get what clearly the fans want. And maybe it's not everybody, but when you see the reactions and everything, especially on this edition of Raw in Chicago, people cannot wait for The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. And maybe that does not help based on kind of what we thought was a lackluster segment on SmackDown between Cody and Roman Reigns. But like I mentioned too, maybe that's intentional. Maybe, it's a weird way to do it, but maybe the fact that The Rock's not there is that inevitable letdown now. So I think this thing's going to get even more fascinating as we move forward from here, but I thought this was one of the better segments they've done in this entire storyline. And I've seen people say, hey, this may have been the best Raw they've done all year. I wouldn't disagree with that. We've got other videos too about some other stuff, other big stuff that went on this edition of Raw. But this was your biggest hint that we've had yet that they are doing The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. That match is going to happen. It's just a matter of when and where. My prediction right now would be SummerSlam. And I think there is a lot to where you could have Cody as the champion going into SummerSlam with The Rock as the person who is trying to dethrone him. And then I will tell you what I could potentially think about that match and who could get involved in that match in the video I'm going to do looking at the main event for WrestleMania Night 2. But curious to know what you guys thought about this segment here, and surely you agree, right? We are getting this match between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. If anybody had any questions about that, WWE answered all of them. They solved the mystery on this week's Raw with an incredible closing segment to the show that many people will be remembering, not just as we get towards WrestleMania 40, but beyond, and as this storyline continues to progress between The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, and so forth. So let me know what you thought of the segment between The Rock and Cody Rhodes and just the beatdown in the parking lot for the American Nightmare, and the final boss reigns supreme on this edition of Raw. But as always, guys, like I said, be sure to hit that subscribe button. A lot more videos on the way here on the road to WrestleMania 40. So we'll talk about that here on the channel. And as I teased, I'll have a big video coming in the next couple days looking at my thoughts on what's going to happen on WrestleMania Night 2, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Appreciate you guys watching. As always, leave your feedback. Always love the discussion. And we will talk to you again here soon. Let me know what you thought about The Rock taking aim at Cody Rhodes in blood on a closing segment on WWE RAW.